Now we will look at how chemical CDMOs define their value chain and core service spectrum. This would help to clarify the service focus and the role of CDMO in chemical industries. First, let us look at chemical CDMO value chain. Think of the journey as a chemical relay race, not a clinical marathon. It starts with proving reaction route, moves through pilot optimization, and ends with commercials and scaled manufacturing. It is just the chemistry validated step by step. The focus is on intermediate and specialty chemicals and not really on the finished drugs. Unlike pharma CDMOs, the chased dosage forms, chemical CDMOs specialize in crafting the essential building blocks, that is, intermediates, catalysts, or advanced materials that makes those products possible. Then validation through process consistency and impurity profile. Here the success isn't measured by patient outcomes but by process precision. Each batch must mirror the last and every part per million of impurity and tells a story about how stable and controlled your chemistry truly is. And the integration of continuous flow and green chemistry is essential. Modern CDMOs now close the loop using flow reactors, smart sensors, and solvent recoveries to make scale up not just faster, but cleaner, safer, and more sustainable. Core service spectrum of this industry is custom synthesis and route scouting. Every project begins with custom synthesis with the creative spark of chemistry. The goal is to discover a reaction pathway that not only works on paper but can also be scaled safely and economically in a real plant. The process optimization is conducted for better yield and purity. Once that pathway is found, the real engineering begins. Teams fine-tune every parameter, solvents, temperatures, pressures, catalyst to squeeze out higher yields and achieve cleaner, tighter specification. The next is analytical validation and material characterization. Great chemistry means little without proof. Analytical teams step in to verify the molecular structures, impurity fingerprints, and stability, ensuring that what's scaled in the plant is exactly what was designed in the lab. And finally, and most important, is EHS and regulatory compliance. Running parallel to all of this is the invisible framework of compliance. Safety permits, environmental checks, and audit trails make sure the operation stays compliant and credible in every market it serves. The next part in chemical industry is API and intermediate production in the CDMO business. The magic of chemical manufacturing lies in scale, from gram to multi-ton scale-up. Every route that begins in a small beaker must eventually behave the same way in 5,000 liters reactor. And that's where the true process and craftsmanship of CDMO comes in. Then, batch versus continuous flow selection. Once the route behaves, the next call is about flow. Should it run at a discrete batches or a continuous process? Continuous flow often shines when safety and efficiency go hand in hand. Then, impurity profiling and crystallization control. Getting these variables right ensures reproducibility and documentation for GMP and REACH compliance. Documentation for every data point, test, and deviation becomes part of the compliance story and satisfies GMP and REACH auditor while building the customer trust when it comes to gram to multiple ton scale-ups. The next part is innovation and efficiency enablers of CDMO partners. Here the world has stepped forward using AI reaction prediction and route screening. AI is fast becoming the lab partner. By predicting reaction outcomes and ranking alternative routes, it helps the scientists to zero in on most promising path, saving weeks of trial material in early development. Then, modular plants and automated reactors allow CDMOs to reconfigure quickly, running new chemistries without waiting for civil expansion and retooling entire facilities. Green solvents and waste minimization slashes disposal cost and strengthens the CDMO sustainability credential in competitive market. Using greener solvents and smarter recovery system also helps to aid this process. And finally, real-time analytics for yield and process control. The live data closes the loop. Inline sensors and digital dashboards track reactions as they happen, and customer satisfaction is highest with all this process in the CDMO partner. What are the challenges and risks when it comes to partnering with the CDMO in chemical business? In chemical CDMOs, every process begins with risk, that is managing hazardous reaction safety. That's why detailed safety studies, hazard analysis, and proper containment systems always come before production, and the customer needs to be approved and satisfied with your process. The next challenge for CDMOs is raw material prices and supply volatility. Even the safest route can stumble. The raw material prices swing fast, so CDMOs need to protect themselves through multi-sourcing, local vendor development, and close forecasting to keep deliveries on track. Then, evolving regulatory and sustainability demands. In this scenario, tuning the compliance from a reactive checklist to proactive part of daily operation is important. Otherwise, the compliance norms may falter as the process goes forward. And the most important part is protecting IP and confidential process of the partner as well as the customer itself. Finally, the trust ties it all together. Clients share sensitive formulas, know-how, so CDMOs build digital and human firewalls. NDAs, isolated data rooms, and separate teams to safeguard is required to protect every bit of intellectual property. In a nutshell, chemical CDMOs convert reaction know-how into industrial scale. With safety, compliance, and sustainability are core differentiators in scaling up the business.